Good afternoon. Just waiting for another couple of minutes. We're going to start with our La Viva session today. Hopefully all of you can see my screen right now. Perfect. So let's start for today's session. Viva la Viva. I'm super happy to introduce you to the world of Viva. I think it's, beside of Copilot, also a super important topic because I see Viva not only as the employee experience, but it could be also an enabler for the Copilot functionalities. But first of all, let me shout out to our sponsors for this Cloud8 Summit, Script Runner, Veeam.cloud, as well as the Change Cockpit. I'm super happy to having me. Thank you, Drago, and to the crew for this opportunity. And now dive into the Viva session. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Pascal Brunner. I'm working as a head of modern work Switzerland at Campana & Schott. We are the Microsoft Partner of the Year 2023 in employee experience. And I'm also, as well as Drago and many other speakers on the Cloud8 Summit, also Microsoft MVP. So feel free to reach out on LinkedIn as well as via email if you have any further questions. Super happy to guide and helping you on this journey. And also I'm part of the Viva Explorers, which is quite of a smaller community with several MVPs worldwide. And we are heavily investing in the Viva community. So also happy to guide you and connect you to other MVPs all over the world. But let's start with an initial overview. Once we heading to today's challenges in the daily work, we see many different challenges. And one is, of course, the fact that employees are not longer just resources, but they are really important and crucial for the success of every organization. And with that saying, it's really important to deliver the best aspects for your employees that they can be satisfied, because many studies shows that if you have satisfied and happy employees, they are even more productive and can also deliver better results, which guides the organization to better revenue streams as well as better customer satisfaction. Another important part where employee experience can help you, especially with Viva, is to keep your employees happy. So to keep them happy helps you to find and also to keep your good employees, because finding new talents is one side, but it's also super important to keep your employees within your organization. So employee experience can help you also to keep your good employees in your organization. And this is also super helpful, of course, for customer satisfaction, for example. And last but not least, of course, the change of attitude. There is a different aspect or different requirements the employees have today, especially with the younger generation. And they are really focusing on also other aspects such as well-being and flexibility and so on. And of course, Viva can help you with these challenges as well. But why is it important to have a motivated workforce? As I already mentioned, there are several studies that shows how a good employee experience can impact your organization. And with that saying, it is also to keep in mind that customer satisfaction is 10% higher when you invest in your employee experience. And if you have a closer look to that, I think it's super clear. Once I am happy in my daily work, I can deliver even better results. I'm more engaged with the customers. I'm super happy, and I can transfer this to my customers. And this delivers, of course, better results. And it is not only satisfaction, but it's also productivity. And of course, we're going to see with Viva Insights, for example, we can help your customers to better guide you through the whole day. So, for example, to really understand what are your working habits. And once you know the working habits, you can change and fine tune your daily work to be more productive in the future. And when we say more productive, I think it's super important to understand it's not just the productivity part in an output way, but it's more kind of you feel better, you have a better well-being, and with that you are able to deliver better results within the same time, just in the fact that you are more engaged and more happy. Of course, employee retention, it's super important, as I already mentioned. To keep the good employees is a crucial and really market advantage fact, because when we can save the time and the money and also the knowledge that are or should be invested in new employees and use this work for the better habits and the better work results, we have a super important and helpful part. And this guides to the corporate profitability. So I think the employee experience is really a win-win scenario. On the one hand side, of course, for you and your employees, because they have the understanding why is your work important, and you understand why it's such a difference to deliver better results. But it's also a win fact for your company and organization, because they have better results, better revenue, and so on. So it's really a win-win scenario. And when we have a closer look on the journey, when the employee experience platform is the right point, I think also in the last few years, of course, we have the different stages from an intranet perspective, starting from the static intranet over to the dynamic. And of course, the last few years, we had a high focus on the social intranet part. And now we really see the employee experience platform as the next step within your digital workplace, because it is super important when we talk about the employee experience that it is also included for all your employees. So it's not just about your information workers, those people who are sitting the whole day in front of the PC or the laptop, but also for your frontline and first line workers, to make sure they get all the relevant information as well. Of course, they have different requirements also from an information level, but it is important to have the whole organization within this platform, within the employee experience, to deliver also for those people the best employee experience they deserve. But what do we mean when we talk about employee experience? So I really often use this sample when we compare it to the customer experience. I think all of us know there is a really big difference. If we have a great customer experience, it is important to invest in your customer experience. So customer experience begins from the very first touch a potential customer has with your company. And lives on till the very last day. So it's quite similar in the employee experience platform or with the employee experience. So it starts really from the first hand side when your potential employees are engaging with your company, for example, on LinkedIn or with a website, and it goes on till the day they leave or even further. So we have multiple aspects within the employee experience. Of course, productivity is super important, customer satisfaction, as I already mentioned. But on an employee side, on the green side here, of course, we have some aspect from the employee side. So it is not only about how to getting better and how to deliver more and more. It is how can we use our daily work time the most productive way and the most or the best way. Also regarding the well-being parts, also regarding how can we engage better with each other, especially if you have a more remote culture. Sometimes it can be hard to feel connected with your coworkers. So also at this aspect, the employee experience can help you to be more engaged, to feel the better together within your company, within your team. And it also guides into the personal development or the career aspect, because development, personal development, and lifelong learning are super important parts. All of you know that we do not have that much time to learn on a daily basis. So it's important to use the time wisely. And when we say time wisely, and this is really the differences between Viva and two other employee experience platforms, we have the capability to deliver the different tools within the flow of work. So the flow of work means that it is directly integrated in your daily work. And of course, this is Microsoft Teams. Teams is the default way where we work together, where we meet, where we chat together, where we held some webinars, such on the Cloud8 Summit. And we have now the capability and the possibility with Viva to deliver all the different aspects we know they are important for our organization, to deliver this directly within Teams. And we have several different topics we want to face within the employee experience platform. So first of all, it is how can we make sure all people and all employees are aligned and know the mission and vision within a company, that we have the Viva modules starting with Viva Goals, which is your OKR-based framework directly in Teams. We do have Viva Engage and Viva Amplified from a communication perspective. When we're talking about how can we strengthen our workforce, it is with Viva Topics, which I'm going to show you more in detail just in a few minutes, but also the learning aspect. And I think Viva Learning is such a game changer, how we can do the learning in our daily work. And of course, Viva Connection, probably all of you have already seen and known Viva Connection, which is basically kind of your SharePoint intranet directly integrated into Teams. And last but not least, it is about how to measure and how to assess the motivation, productivity, and of course also the well-being part within a company. There we have Viva Insights, Viva Pulse, and one of the newest family members, Viva Glint. And these are the tools where we can link the impulses or the pulse from the employee perspective on a weekly or monthly basis. And we can link this with the signals we get from M365, such as our work habits. Let me do one sample. For example, when I look into my Viva Insight, sometimes it recommends me, hey, you have answered 50% within your team meetings, also emails. This could be a hint that I'm not that engaged within the meeting. So maybe I have to really focus on to be 100% within the meeting and concentrate and focus on the meetings. And of course, this is everything within M365. So it is directly integrated in the M365 admin portal, as well as the data protection and security are enabled and can be used within Viva. And when we talk about the Viva modules, there are several integration level. So for example, in Viva Learning, it is possible to link or integrate your SAP SuccessFactors or Cornerstone and so on to really have your learning management system also integrated within Teams. Here we have another overview on the different modules, but let me use the time to talk about Copilot in Viva. Of course, Copilot is the buzzword these days at Microsoft, and everything is Copilot. And Copilot is also, or will be also enabled within Microsoft Viva. So we have, for example, Copilot in Viva Goals. So it helps you to drive your mission and coordination part with how can we formulate our OKRs in the most proper way, and to really make sure your OKRs are guided to the different standards, but also to improve and make sure the progress are tracked and to have this big picture overview. Also in Viva Glint, when we talk about Viva Glint, where we collect the employee feedback, let imagine we are a people with 5,000 employees. It's super hard to go through all the different answers on a daily basis. So it's even more important, and this is really where Copilot can help you to understand all the thousands of answers in a better way. So you can really interact with Copilot in Viva Glint to get their understanding. What are my employees' answers? What are the pain points at the moment? What is working good or bad? And this is where Copilot can also help you within the Viva platform. And last but not least, also in Viva Engage, where it can support you to have a conversation starters with the generative AI, of course. You can type several keywords and then it makes a first draft of a possible answer directly in Viva Engage. So it is also in these different scenarios also your personal assistant. But now I want to show you the Viva in a live environment where I can show you how does it feel on a daily basis and how does it look like for you as an employee. So let me switch to our demo environment. So right now we are in Microsoft Teams. Of course, with Microsoft Teams, we have our different teams where we interact. For example, Bito, which is our company, and we have the sustainability team. And where what we see, and this is what I've mentioned within the flow of work, we have the different Viva modules directly on our left hand side. So our intranet is just one click away in Teams. Of course, probably you know all the different functionalities in SharePoint. So Viva Connection is your gateway from your SharePoint intranet directly integrated into Teams. Of course, we do have the highlighted web part where we can have the corporate news. We have the quick links, and we do have also the Viva dashboard, which is quite cool because it is also enabled on your mobile devices. So this is really kind of a jump start once you open your Viva connection also on the mobile device. You have directly the link to Viva Learning, or for example to your menu in your canteen to see what is the lunch for today, and then also to interact with the dashboard. Let's switch to the sustainability at Campana and Shot. Once I've do this, what I've noticed is there are some highlighted keywords, for example, Campana and Shot, sustainability, sunflower. And this is kind of the magic that Topics does, because Viva Topics identify the keywords we have and deliver the direct link directly in your SharePoint. So once I've hover over the sustainability, I get this Viva Topics card. So now we are actually in the Viva Connection world within SharePoint and Intranet, but Viva Topics is also integrated directly in the flow of work, where we now can inform us what is sustainability, who are the people that are engaged within the sustainability. We do have the blue tick, as we already know, for example, from Instagram or other social media. So these are the verified people. And we see also some resources. And now I have the possibility to view some details and switch directly to the topic page, where I get even more information to sustainability. So I can inform the sustainability, and here we see what are the resources of this text. And this is where the magic happens and why Topics is so powerful, because AI identifies the information based on your different documents within your M365 tenant, and then make a suggestion what is sustainability based on different documents. And I am, as Donademo, as the topic owner, are then able to edit this first draft. So Topics helps you to keep on track and keep all the relevant information up to date. And then we have all the different web parts we know in SharePoint, and these are also available directly in your Viva Topics pages. And one super cool stuff is we have the pinned files and pages, and we have the suggested files and pages. So the difference here is these are the documents and files we have verified as the correct and the official documents. And here are the suggestions from AI. So they've seen there is kind of a news from sustainability project. This really links to the topic sustainability, and it is also flagged as suggested file. So it helps you to keep track. And also, if we go a bit more in detail, what Topic does for you is kind of a knowledge graph. So we see here how are the different topics are linked to each other. For example, sustainability is linked to Energiespeicher, but it is also linked to economic sustainability, social sustainability, community. And I really get this big graph. Let's imagine you have thousands of different topics, and you really see how all the different topics are linked to each other. And it helps you to get a better understanding how does the different impact look like. And you can also show here the legend. So here the dotted lines are suggested relationships, and the lines are the confirmed relationships. And of course, I can now deep dive from this sustainability page to the social sustainability page. I can inform me what is the different topics, where is the difference between sustainability as a whole and to the social sustainability. And it's super helpful to have your knowledge base and your knowledge management on the next level within your organization. It is also multilingual, where you can switch to each other. You can also name alternative names. For example, the SB is an alternate name for sustainability. And we've seen also from the SharePoint view, this is this integration directly in your flow of work. But there is also more. So let's imagine we have a discussion with Vance, and we want to inform him about some sustainability parts. I can just write him a message. Hey, Vance, have you noticed about our, and then use the hashtag. This is kind of a demo effect, but let's have a look on a higher level, or just reload it. But what it does is it highlights also the aspect directly in your one-to-one chat. Now it works. Here you see sustainability, and I can even highlight directly into the flow of work in a one-to-one chat, which is super helpful also to provide the different information directly in the chat. So now let's make a switch to Viva Learning, because I think Viva Learning is also a super helpful aspect in your daily basis, because what it does is Viva Learning is not an LMS, not a learning management system, but it is kind of your learning hub, your integration level, where you can link all the different learning resources you have within your company directly in Teams. So nowadays, we do not have just one resources. We learn on Microsoft Learn. We learn on LinkedIn Learning. We have our very own learning nuggets, but maybe we have also Pluralsight or edX. And last but not least, there is also SAP SuccessFactors or Cornerstone or LMS 365 and so on. And Viva Learning brings you the capability to have this overall learning experience where you see I can browse through different resources. So here are the content from Saba Cloud. We do have Go1. We have our very own component shot content, for example, well-being at your workplace, Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, and so on. So even when you search for specific content, you do not know where is maybe something about M365 admin stuff. You just can use the search within Viva Learning, and it browse and search all your different providers, and then delivers you the result. But also from a onboarding perspective or from an academy perspective, I think the academies here in Viva Learning are super helpful for all different levels, because with Viva Learning, we have the possibility to do kind of learning path with different providers. So, for example, we do have our showcase, the onboarding task. I think this is quite obvious. Once you start a new position, you have to do some trainings to be aware of the security and compliance stuff, diversity, but also maybe to have a jump start. How do you use Teams at your company? So what we see here is we have our onboarding academy where we have different tabs. So one says welcome at Vito, Teams at Vito, and digital skills. Of course, you are maybe have other use cases, your first day at Vito, your first weeks at Vito, your first 3 months at Vito, and do your learning path on this way. So this is also a quite often use case. And now we see here, okay, welcome at Vito. We have our first day, our first weeks, or our first month. So let's have a look what we should do in the first few days. And what we see here is an individual learning path with different providers. So you are able to do the academies with all the different integration layers. We have the onboarding information from Campana and Shot, but we have also the Go1, LinkedIn Learning, and other providers here directly in our flow of work. And once I do this, I just can click on it, and then I can directly have a look at the welcome at Vito directly within Viva Learning. I do not have to switch to other content, or this is really my starting point, which guides me to the right learning content. And this is super helpful because we do not have that much time to learn. So it is even more important to use our time as good as possible. And this is just one click away in my daily work. Let's imagine a meeting has been canceled. Just go on Viva Learning. Let's have a look. What have you already done? Okay, the first 2 modules I've already completed. Next one is compliance basics from Go1. And then I do my learning and do not have to switch to all the different modules or to all the different application. Everything is directly in Microsoft Teams, or as I already mentioned, in Viva Learning. So there are super different use cases. We've done, for example, at a customer, the academies from the different jobs levels they have. For example, the academies are linked with an M365 group. So once they got promoted, they are automatically linked to a specific group. And once they are part of this group, they have also the different academies. This is, for example, leadership training, marketing and sales academy, and so on. And you have also the My Learning content, where you have a quite often overview. You can bookmark, you can even share directly from Viva Learning. So for example, let's share it here in Teams. I want to share to Vance. This is so cool. And this is also so helpful to easily do the collaborative and social learning part, where you can engage also your coworkers to have a look at the different learning content you provide on your company level. And of course, it is also part of your teams. So, for example, at sustainability, we have the sustainability teams. Once a new member or part of this teams, he really just can click on learn about sustainability, finds all the relevant sustainability training and information. This is also quite helpful on project-based or even on your organizational level. For example, let's do the marketing training directly within the marketing teams and so on. And of course, there's also with Viva Engage, the community part. We have also the Viva Goals integration with the OKRs. So everything is directly integrated within Microsoft Teams. Let me switch back to the presentation because I really want to highlight why it's worth to invest in your employee experience platform and to provide you some additional studies and facts and figures. Because as I already mentioned in the beginning, nowadays everybody's talking about Copilot, and me either. Copilot is also just the revolution of our daily work. But I'm super convinced that Microsoft Viva will play a crucial part within this journey, because also the adoption part is super important. For example, also the Copilot dashboard is part of Viva Insights. So this is really kind of a hand-by-hand job. And I think to keep in mind, people come to a company, but they leave their manager. So it is important to keep in mind all the revolutionary stuff such as Copilot, AI, and so on are super important, are super fancy, super cool. I'm also a fanboy, but keep in mind that we are all human beings and you have to provide the best employee experience for your employees. And that's how you make sure that your employees will stick to your company, will be part in this journey for your company and make your company better and better day by day. And this is also what our the work trend index from last year showed us. So are there different and multiple key figures where shows how important it is to have this employee experience. So for example, so many people feel disconnected from their teams. So you have to make sure that they have the engagement and the connectional feeling to your team members. But also there is kind of this productivity paranoia. Microsoft has called it in this way because 87% of employees say that they are productive at work, but only 12% of managers are fully convinced that their employees are productive on a daily basis. So this is kind of a disbalance between a personal feeling and what might be a manager feels. And when we have, for example, Viva Insights as a helpful tool to ensure your well-being part within your company, it helps you to provide some gut feelings with data. And once we have data, and once we've understand the working habits within a team or within an organization, we can really fine-tune your organization into the right way. And once again, it's not about just to be more productive. It's not about just to be or just to deliver even more, but it is really to use your working time the most sustainable way and the most healthy way. And this is the way how they or your employees are the most productive way. And even more important on a long run. So it's not just a sprint. I think our daily work is more like a marathon, and to keep that in mind. So I really welcome you to read through the work trend index. This is quite a interesting source provided by Microsoft. Also important to have a look, for example, for Copilot. This is the latest studies. And of course, last but not least, Viva pays off. So it is not just a helpful way for your employee. Of course, it is helpful for your employees, but it is also super helpful for you as an organization because it saves you time, it saves you money, and it makes your organization more resilient and more effective. And with that saying, you will be in a better market position if you are invested in your employee experience. And this shows several studies that organizations that invest in their employee experience, they outperform the company which do not invest in the employee experience. So with that saying, I'm super happy to answer your questions. Use the chat or just hit me on LinkedIn if you have additional questions. I'm happy to share also my LinkedIn profile. And yeah, let's use the chat. I'm here for another couple of minutes. And otherwise, I highly appreciate your time. Thank you for be part of this session or even afterwards that you have the time to rewatch my session. And also a big shout out and thank you, Tirago, for this opportunity, for your engagement within the community. I highly appreciate this as well. And I'm super happy to be part of this community. And also a big shout out to our sponsors for this Cloud8 Summit, ScriptRunner, Veeam.cloud, as well as the Change Cockpit. Thank you very much. We have about 5 minutes left for potential questions. Otherwise, really enjoy your day and hopefully to see you soon live or virtual, for example, in LinkedIn. Thank you very much.